Okay, so also if you want to share the link of YouTube with your EV members, you can also share it because we are started to broadcast to record the space.
Via. E come faccio a mettere muto il microfono?
Okay, so we are going to start, and the main objective of this webinar is to walk you through, of course, our main platform, internal platform of management of our operations as an organization, that is Expa, and also go a little bit in Podio basics, since we are also using this platform for specific, let's say, operations management and CRM of specific areas, for example, such as IGV. So to start, I'm gonna share my screen, and then we will start with the whole explanation about it. So, okay. So, as you know, our main platform of internal management of operation is called Expa. So this is how the interface of Expa looks like once you log in the platform. As you know, we are currently like in the transition period between the old version of Expa that is called Expa version 2 and the use of the new version that is called Expa 3. So I also will, at some point of the webinar, will also specify you which are the very, very few features that you can still use on Expa 2, but the main call to action and, of course, the transition of all of organization is the use of Expa 3 and how we started already since a couple of months ago on managing from both operational side, outgoing and incoming, the platform to manage all of our operations in general. So this is when you log in, this is like the first, let's say, tab that you receive and like the first interface that you have on Expa. And I'm gonna start walking you through all the different features that we can use in the platform to manage our operations, both from OGXI, so all of our going products, meaning how can we manage the people that gets registered in our platform to make them go through all the process of our customer flow in the organization, and also how can we use the platform from the ICXI, meaning IGV, to understand which is the people that we are getting to all of our opportunities and all the projects that we are running inside of our entities, and how can we process them to also move them towards the customer flow and eventually get them to live the experience that we all are seeking for. So the first part to start is I'm going to start with the part of OGXI, so managing people slash EPs, as we call them, exchange participants in our platform. So this is the first tab that you receive once you log in Express. I was sending to you, and then you can go to, for example, this first feature that you're gonna find here, as you can see in the left side of the platform, that is called People, and you can go and click on the People tab, and then you will receive this interface where you can filter and you can get which is all of the people that have been signing up to the platform to your entity. So basically, with this first feature, something that I want to explain you is that basically the new version of Expa works a lot with filters. So each feature that we use in the platform is, let's say, filter driven, in the sense that you can use a different set of filters to get the information that you want. For example, here I already put the first filter, that is all the people that register slash sign up in our platform in this month, December. Since the 1st of December until today, December 6th, so throughout the whole month, this currently Expa showing me all the people that sign up for ISEC in Italy. So I'm seeing, of course, signups of all the committees. But if you want to, of course, filter for your specific entity, here you can see the different filters that you can use. So for example, the first one that you need to filter to get the specific amount of people that have been signing up in a month or in a day or in a week is this one that is called register. So you can customize, as you can see, if you wanted to put this week, today, yesterday, this month, or for example, custom range, if you want to set a specific range of dates that you want to filter. And then another filter that you can see that is called more, is where you can find all the filter options that you have to use in the feature. So this is, as you can see, this is all the list, and they are very, very diverse, let's say. So you can filter sign-ups of people based on backgrounds, committee, the data they sign up, also the product, of course, if it's GV, GT, the status. So mainly all the people that guess in this feature or part of the platform when they sign up, they are all open in status open, meaning that the person already signed up in the platform and is ready to start the whole process inside of our organization. And here in the part of committee, in these filters where you can find, like, search for a specific committees. So for example, let's say that I want to see all the signups of ISEC in Bologna so far. So I put the filter and it's going to tell me all the people that sign up from the 1st of December until today for ISEC in Bologna. So here I can see all the people, for example. This is like how you can be on top from OGXI, meaning if you are OGB or G or OGT, but also marketing. So also the work that you can do with your synergy. How can you be on track on top of the people that you are attracting? All of our marketing activities and strategies are getting translated into the platform, so they are ready to go through all the process. And these are the main, for example, filters in the feature that you can use. Then if you want to go deeper, you can use the other ones. Also, something that is important is that in order to differentiate the signups in the platform from the ones that also people do when they are joining ISX, so the way they are creating their profiles when they join the organization to be members, you can use this filter that is called ISECer, and then you put no, and then you will know also that, of course, in this sense, the number of signups didn't change, but in the sense of there will be also people that sign up, registering the platform, but just to create their profile because they joined the organization. With this filter, you can make sure that the people that you are getting is people that is not inside member of the organization, so ISECer. So it's people that is completely 100% external customers that you need to start processing. So this is the very first step on how you can manage people in the platform in Expa version 3. And the most important thing is that I'm main suggestion that I can give you from now on is that to create the habit both from OGX and marketing side together in synergy to be checking this part of the platform, this feature, at least every 6-8 hours, so you can be always on top every day of which is the people that is signing up daily in the platform to your committee, and then you can start all the process of contacting them and moving them towards the customer flow very, very fast. So we make sure that we are being customer oriented. So once you are filtering which is the people that is being signing up to the platform, the next thing that you can do is from the GXI start managing the whole process of getting all of our customers to the status that they need to be ready to live the experience, meaning the status approved. So in order to do this, what you can do is, for example, if I'm seeing all the people here that sign up to my committee in this month, I can click in one of the people, the person that sign up, and you are going to receive this. That is basically this another feature of the platform where you can see the profile of the person that let's call the EP. And then the first thing that you can do with these new features of the latest version of the platform is to start managing and changing the status of the people itself throughout the whole customer flow and the platform. So of course, once that you see all the people that sign up, the first thing that you need to do as OGX is contact them. And the first call to action is to make sure that you're contacting people in 24 hours. So of course, once that you start contacting all the people that sign up, for example, and you click here in their profiles, you can start managing them. So you understand how much further they are going through the process. So for example, if you already contacted this person, for example, Simone, I can click here and contact it, and then I'm not gonna do it, of course, to not change anything in the signups of, for example, Bologna, but you can contact the person and put the status, so it's going to appear that the person is being already contacted in that case. So this is going to change to contacted. And here in interview, after you contact the EP and you talk to the EP, it can be through a call if it's the touch point that you're managing, or if it's like a physical touch point and you already sit down and interview the EP, let's say you have had the first touch point meeting with them, you can also put here interview. So you already are changing the status of the EP. So you and your teams, you inside your areas, can know if this EP is already being managed by someone from the team. And of course, also something important that you need to do is here that you can see managers. You can assign, and it's important that all of your signups, your EPs that are signing up in the platform have an EP manager. So you can assign someone from your area, from your team, from your LC, from your entity that is going to manage this person. And here you can just click and you search the name of the person that is going to be the EP manager. In this case, for example, it can be also yourself. So I can put me, and then it's going to appear here, which is the EP manager or EP managers. It can be more than one for this EP, for this person. And so this in this sense, all the people that is going to be EP manager of this specific person in the platform will be able later on to change all the status and also to eventually approve this customer. And after this, you can also check, for example, which are the applications that the EP is doing. So, of course, the first call to action once we are contacting and processing people is to start making them apply to opportunities. Here, of course, this EP still hasn't applied opportunity to any opportunity, so that's why this part of applications is empty. But once the EP start applying, here in this feature, you can check all the applications that that person is doing. I will show you an example later. And a main consideration to take to have in mind here is that, for example, if it's GB, we suggest to make the EP apply to one opportunity that is aligned to an entity partner of your entity or LC or international relations that you have LC to LC, also aligned to national ones. And if it's a GT, for example, EPG, to apply to at least four opportunities. And it's important to keep these ratios in mind of applications per EP. So we make sure that the EP is going to have the all the necessary processes and opportunities to get to find the project that the person is looking for. So, for example, let's look to very briefly. Let's look to someone, an EP that is applying to opportunities. So, for example, if I want to check all the applications of the people that I manage in my entity, I can go to this feature. It's called applications that you can find here in this side of the platform, and you can click in applications of people. And of course, if you are EP manager, so you're having also EPs that you are directly managing, you can also go directly of applications of people that I manage. So it's going to appear all the applications of the EPs that you are EP manager of, and you will be able to see which are the applications that they are doing. For example, here I'm seeing all the applications of all the EPs of ISEC in Italy for OGV in this month. So you, once again, as I was saying to you, every feature of an Expa is filter driven. So you can here have all the filters that you want to manage. So you can filter by product, you can filter by time range. So meaning they apply this month or apply today or apply this week. You can customize the date range. You can also filter by status. So you have here, for example, all the status of the customer flow. Since the moment the EP is open, meaning that sign up in the platform, and it's able to start applying to opportunities since the EP is accepted, since approved, realized, finished, etc., etc. So, for example, here if I want to check, for example, this EP, here, if I click, I can check to which opportunities is my EP applying. So either I can click here and I will be able to check the opportunity itself. For example, this is the opportunity on Expa that my EP is applying. I can also check where is this opportunity. In this case, it's in Egypt. And here in the opportunity, I can check all information, like the summary information about it. And of course, here in this feature, I cannot see the applications because it's from more from ICXI, but later on I will show you this also feature. So I can also check the opportunity just to make to have a double check or further information about it. And here in when I click, you will able to see this. That is basically a summary of the EP profile and all the background of the EP. And the most important thing about this feature is that it allows you to be on top of the process time of the EP itself. Because here in this tab that you see that is called timeline, you can click and you can see which is all the overall process time that the EP the EP is having since the moment that the EP started to apply to the opportunity. So for example, this EP applied to the opportunity on the December 4, and you can see when is the EP getting the next steps on the status. For example, the EP was accepted by host. This means that the EP was accepted for that opportunity from IGV site in the entity where the opportunity is being hosted, and it was accepted one day after, so on December 5th. So it's very, very important that you are always checking this so you understand how much fast is being the process. And of course, you are also in contact with the IGV side to other communication channels, for example, WhatsApp, email, but also in this feature that Expa also has that is called chat, where you will be able to chat not only with your EP but also with the opportunity managers from IGB side. For example, in this case in Egypt, that are managing the opportunity, so you can also chat with them to understand how is the progress of the EP. If the EP was already accepted, in this case, yes, and you can also keep updated the other side about the next steps to complete the process of the EP, because now that once that the EP is accepted by IGVSI in this case, and you will get to understand when the EP gets this status of accepted by host, you can continue with the process of making, of course, our EP from OGVSI to do the rest of the process, assign the contract, acceptance note, and pay. So you will be able to also to once the EP does these requirements activities, you will be able to also make them go further in the platform, accept them from also our side, and we will be ready the EP to get approved both from IGV side and OGV side. Because something to keep in mind is that remember that the approval happens from both sides, so both areas of the entities, OGV and IGV in this case, or OG in IG or IGT and OGT, they need to click from both sides. And for example, if I want to, for example, very, very fast filter, and I want to see all the EPs that have been accepted, now it's not appearing because sometimes the filters, but let's try to see. Um, if you want to check, for example, an EP that was already accepted and approved, you can also check, and you can see always in the status how it's appearing, and which is the next steps that you are going to have. And for example, for the CP, this is how the overall process time, how the timeline went, for example. So as I was saying to you, after they got accepted by host, IGV side, or ICXI, IG or IGT, they were also processed from our side, they got our approval, and then the final approval from the site, and they are ready to go for the experience based on the realization date of each opportunity. Of course, you can also see, as you can see here, all the status that all the EPs has of their application that they are doing. So if they are withdrawing an application, or they got an application rejected to an opportunity, or they are still open and they need to start applying to opportunities, or for example, if they are already accepted by host, if they are already approved. So you can also have the overall, and you can always see when is the which is the host LC of the opportunities, in which entity is, and here, of course, you will see your entity or your LC. In this case, you are seeing Italy, since I'm checking the overall of the entity. And for example, coming back to the part of people, as I was telling to you, you can also, once you start processing your people, you can also use these features that are also offered by the platform called notes or tags, that they can also help us understand to all the EP managers and the teams that are processing all the customers key factors to take in consideration to make each one of them to move further in the process. For example, in notes, you can put if the person if the person wants to live in a, for example, to a specific country, or is looking at a specific kind of project or a specific SDG related to the project or the opportunity. So you can put them here in notes, and all the people that is managing these specific customers EPs will be able to see them every time that they check their profile. And for example, here in tags, you can also use tags to make people understand key factors of the EP, but also you can use them later on in the filters part to filter also your EPs based on tags that you are creating. So you can also create tags. For example, if you want to use a tab that is about EP wants to live in June, you can put the tag June. And then if the EP wants to leave from a specific country, Brazil, you can also put tag Brazil, and then you can filter here in the main interface of people. You can also add those filters. You can also filter very fast, because here, for example, you have the option of tags, and then here in tags you can also search and type, for example, June, and then it will appear all the EPs that have been tagged with this June category, meaning that they can be able to live in this period of time, for example. And the most important thing, as I was saying to you, is always being in track of the applications that your EPs are doing, so you will be able to understand how much they are going further to the process, and being always on top of how much time is taking for them to to get done each part of the activities that they are required. And of course, the ideal status that we are seeking for every time that we process one of our customers is the status of approved. That is mean when the EP did all the process from both our side and also ICX side, and they, as I was saying to you, they were approved from both sides, and they are ready to go based on the realization date that they have. So this is, for example, very basics, but also customer-friendly features that Expa has in order for you to be on top of all of your people, customers that are taking our products outgoing, and how can you manage them since the moment that they get signed up in the platform. Um, so this is it. This is the same tab as I was showing you before. And also you can see here the dates when they are signing up in the platform, the date that they are getting contacted. So every time that OGX teams are working in processing people and they are putting the status of contacted, the platform automatically is making the connection on the dates and how much time passed between they were signing up and were contacted. So it also helps you to understand your overall process time in your working team. So you also can be on top of how you can, guys, keep it a good or keep doing improvements in general. Also, for the information that you can see about the people signing up in the platform is which is the referral channel that they got to know about IS, like the products, and also which are the products that they're interested in. But this category, for example, is assigned based on the number of opportunities that the EPs are looking in the opportunity portal of Expa, Youth Opportunity Portal, YOP in this case, about one specific product or more. So it's not something, it's automatically, let's say, that the platform is creating these correlations or matches. It's not something that we can change directly. So this, for example, from the, let's say, OGX side on how can you manage people to get them to the status of approved. And once again, the features that you can use is people to check all the people that are signing up, and then applications to see all the applications that they are doing to all the opportunities in all the other countries of IS. That where the IS the project and the, yes, the project is hosted. So then, for example, moving on in the platform, you can also manage all the people that is applying to your opportunity project and projects if you are coming from the ISXI, in our case, IGB. So, for example, uh, something that you can do if you are IGB. So to start, the first thing is, for example, this is the opportunities portal of Expa, of our platform. So this is how let's say the EPs, the customers see or opportunities of projects from our IGB side. So here is an example of an opportunity to change. So they are going to find all the information. It's in Spanish, sorry, because Expa automatically put me in Spanish, but in the same sense, is the same format for any kind of language, and they are going to find here all the information about the opportunity, about when it starts, how many weeks is the project, all the general information about it, which is the Z that is contributing, the JD of the project, and also the requirements in terms of if we have any specific requirements for for this project in backgrounds, skills, languages, citizenships, etc. So here is all the information, the detailed information. The most important thing here is that every time that we upload an opportunity, for example, all of these fields is very important to be as transparent as possible, and it's clear for the EP so they understand which is our overall project about, and also the process. And for example, here in this part that is called selection process, they will also find information about how is run the selection process from our side. And here, they will also understand which is the step by step that they need to do. That in our case is also connected to the second platform that I was talking to you about. Sorry, in the beginning, that is called Podio, and I will show you later on how the selection process for IGB teams area projects are connected to this platform. So this is how the opportunities look like, and then when you come back to the normal like other side feature of Expa, so internal management from our side, you can click here in opportunities and you will be able to see all the opportunities that, for example, in this case, I'm seeing all the opportunities of ISEC in Italy. So you can click here, but of course you can also click in opportunities that you manage. So for example, if you want of course to filter more directly and you want to only of course check and see all the opportunities from your entity, you can also check and click in opportunities that I manage, and you will be able to see all of your opportunities that you have open on the system active, meaning that they fulfill all the requirements and they got active in the platform. And you can also start managing and understanding which is the people that are applying to them. So I will show you now. So you go, for example, again to opportunities. Sorry, because sometimes Express, uh, restarts. But for example, you click here in opportunities. Okay, so let's say that I'm seeing here all the opportunities for my LC. In this case, I'm seeing ISEC in Italy in overall. And then, for example, here you will find your opportunity, the status of opportunity. For example, every time that the opportunity has the status open, is meaning that what I was telling to you before, the opportunity is active and published and visible on ISEC.org. That is the opportunities portal for the EPs that we share, like OGXI, so we share with them when they are going to make them apply. And for example, here you can also have the summary of how many people are you having that are applying to your opportunity, and also you have here the dates of the project itself, the opportunity. So for example, let's say that I want to check this opportunity of help to help. So I have this opportunity in my entity, my LC, I want to check. So I click on the opportunity and I'm gonna see this interface feed tab with further information about the opportunity. And here I can see, for example, all the people that is applying to my opportunity. So here we have 9 applicants. So people are applying to opportunity. This is the summary, but if I want to check, of course, deeply, I can go here in applications and I will see all the people that is applying to my opportunities. So here is the name of the EP, which is the home entity in the home LC. So here is when, for example, you start using Expa to start processing your people or of the applicants that are getting your opportunities to understand if they are suitable for your projects, and then you can start moving them forward to the application process from our side as IGV to get them approved eventually. How can we do this? So if I want to contact an EP that applied to my opportunity, I click in the name of the EP, and then I will see this tab that is, as I was just showing you before, also from OGXI, a summary, let's say, of the profile of the EP, also like with the brief explanation why are they applying to this project, their skills, languages, experiences, backgrounds, etc., etc. Um, and you can check also here the timeline, as I was saying to you before, so you can also know the exact date when this EP applied to your opportunity or project. And then to contact them, what you can do is click here in download CV, and you will be redirected to this another tab with all the CV information about the EP. So for example, this EP, and to contact them, you can send them the email. So you can click in send email, and what is going to happen is that you're going to get another tab based on, of course, the email application that you have in your computer. In this case, for example, is opening the mail application of mine, and then what you're going to see there is the email of the EP, but of course it's going to be, let's say, not a normal email, but it's going to be a different set of letters or numbers because of data protections. The emails of the EPs are, let's say, encrypted. But in any case, they are the emails of the EP. They work, so you can send information there to make the EP start up going with the process of getting accepted in our opportunity or project. What happens here now is that when you send the email, and as is it is written in our opportunities, as I was showing you before in the part of selection process, all of the EPs that are applying to opportunities, they also need to fill a Podio form. Okay, so this Podio form, it's a simple form on Podio, Podio.com. That is another platform that we use from IGV side to manage also the selection and process of our EPs. And once they fill this form that we send to them, they basically in this form, how does it look like? As I'm showing to you now, they fill all the general information about them. So also like their name again, the information, the link, the opportunity that they are applying for. They also choose, of course, which is the ISEC entity LC in our case that they are applying. So, for example, I'm showing you this EP that apply to ISEC in Brescia, to this opportunity project that was on the platform. And they also fill again the email information, their phone number, and all for their logistical information, for example, passport, English level, background of education, etc., etc. And then they also upload in this form this small video in which they are explaining why are the best suitable candidate possible or volunteer possible for this project that we are hosting. And then, of course, you can check that. And the main purpose of this form is to get you to understand more deeply about the EP and if they are suitable for your project. And of course, let's say that this EP is suitable for this opportunity of in my in ISEC Brescia. So of course, the first thing, call to action, as I was mentioning you also for OGXI, is to contact all EPs in 24 hours. So you contact all of your applicants that you are getting to the opportunities in 24 hours. For example, this EP is being contacted, and then after you read all the form and all the, let's say, application process with the video explaining why they are the best candidate, you decide, for example, based on the requirements, and also if the opportunity has based on the requirements and the skills needed. In that case, if the candidate is suitable, you accept them to be part of the project. So then here you change the status of the EP, you click in accepted. I'm not going to do it now to not change, of course, the process that was already done by IGV team of ISEC in Brescia, but you can click here in accepted. And once that you accept, then here in Podio, you come back to Expa, and you can also once again click in the name of the in the EP that is applied to opportunity, and then you go back down, 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 and you are going to see these two buttons in which you can accept or reject the application of the EP. So in this case, if the EP is accepted, so I accept them in Podio, and then I come back on Expa and I click in accepted, and then the EP is going to change the status to accepted by host. So this status that, for example, all of these EPs have about open will change about to accepted by host. And once when we accept the EP and we let them know, of course, you send a second communication telling that to the EP that it has been accepted. We need to go and get in touch with OGV side in this case to make sure that they are also are going to start processing the rest of the steps for the EP. So once we accept them, they are going to make the EP sign the contract, accept the notes, pay it. So they are going to be able to update the status of the EP in the platform, and then together. The next steps is to do the LDA, so the leadership development assessment. So once also the EP has the leadership development assessment and has done all the steps of the process, it will be appear once again when you click here in the profile. These two status are going to change, and you are going to be able to approve from our side. So it will be approved by host, and then the OGV side will be able also to approve, and automatically the platform is going to change the status to final approved when the EP is already done with the process and just waiting for the realization date to start the project. So this is how can you manage, for example, applications to all your opportunities, and how to make your EPs get approved to come to do the project. But the most important thing, coming back for a moment to Podio, for this part of selection and management of EPs, is always also to update the status here. We you can also understand as which how much is the progress of the EP so far, and if there is another kind of call to action that you need to manage with the EP itself. Um, One also important thing here is that, for example, in the status, in case if your EP is not suitable for your project by any X or Y reason, either is connected to the specific requirements or background, you can put, but still, it's just specific for your opportunity, but in general the ep has general, let's say, requirements to do a global volunteer. In your perspective, you can put here this status of not selected for this opportunity, but good to go. In this sense, all the other entities of ISEC in Italy that are also running the project, the product IGV, that has also access to this Podio platform application for in the IGV space, they will be able also to check which are the APIs that are good to go on a global volunteer experience, but they were just not matching the specific requirements, and they can also be contacted by them later on. So it's also important that you always keep a daily status so everyone in the network is aware of the overall picture of the all the applicants that we are getting, in case there are applicants that can be processed later on by another entity. So this is about the EP selection process, for example, from IGV side. So coming back to Expa, this is how you can manage all the applications once again and how to get the EP approved. The main call to action and recommendation from our side is that in terms of process time, so as I was saying to you, once you check every 6 hours or less all the applications that you are getting to all your opportunities and projects that you have in your LC or entity, you check and you contact all the applicants, you send them the email with the explanation of how is the selection process for projects that we host in ISEC in Italy, with the selection form in Podio. They fill the form, you check all the information, you either accept it or not, then you change the status on Expa, you let them know. So the most important thing in this first part is that you contact all of your applicants in 24 hours, and then you accept them latest also in 24 hours. And so you let them know latest in that sense that they are accepted for the project. And then from the moment that they got accepted from our side, the idea is to work together, of course, with OG side to get the EP approved from that moment to the final status in 3 days. So from the moment that the EP gets accepted to approve, 3 days maximum. So you are always keeping an overall good process time that is customer oriented, and also you can build the capacity to process a lot of applications coming from different applicants to all of your opportunities that you are hosting. So this is it. And just to recap, so you can check here in this feature called opportunities, but also in the feature of applications to opportunities. In this case, you can put application opportunities that I manage, because you will get access directly to the ones of your entity, and then you can here you can start managing all the applications that you're having, as I was explaining to you before. So this is like the two general of, let's say, overall pictures of how to manage and use Expa from let's say EP management, customer management, both from OGX side and also from ICX side, IGV side, in order to get all of your applicants approved. But also Expa offers other kind of features besides customer management, EP management inside the platform. That is called, for example, this feature that you can find here at the very end, that is called performance analytics, graphical analytics, entity to entity, sorry, and applications analytics. This kind of feature is offered by the platform in order to understand the overall performance of your entity in your products that you are running. I'm going to show you now. So for example, I suggest you to use, for example, this feature a lot to do data analysis to understand how is the overall performance in a specific period of time, if there is something that you that is not working or not. But also you can use it, for example, for reports. It's very useful, or to also to get data to build a session, for example. It depends, of course, in the of the main purpose or end objective that you have. But for example, let's say that I want to check data about how my entity is performing a specific product overall. So for example, I click here in this feature and I go to performance analytics, and then you're going to see all of this feature that is called, or interface that is called analytics, that has different options I was telling to you before. So you have performance, graphical analytics, entity to entity, standards, and a few other features that are still being developed and perfection and being worked on to get perfect by, of course, the platforms teams of the organization, ISEC International. So let's say with the ones that I can show you now that started to be activated to use, you have performance analytics. So for example, you can check performance of specific entity both nationally or locally in a specific period of time. So for example, let's say that I want to check ISEC in Italy, and then a specific time of period can be this month, or I can also custom the period of time if I choose to put another month that is not the current one. So I don't know, November, October, September, August, July, June, X month of the year. You can also check here in this filter that is compare with. So you can compare the performance, for example, of the entity of December of this year, 2018, with, for example, December of 2017, if you choose to. So you can choose also how do you want to compare the performance. And here in view, you can also show, if you click here, if the performance is growing or dropping compared to what was done in the same period of time of last year immediately. So for example, if I check here ISEC in Italy performance in December so far, you will see, for example, here I'm able to see all the LCs and entities that we have. And here you are going to start seeing all the measures that we are managing with our customer flow to check and the performance of our products. So you start from approved. So for example, I can see here the overall approved number of approvals that we've done as an entity so far. That is 40 approvals in the month. And then I can see split by products how much we are doing. So for example, 30 IGB, then 7 OGV, 1 OGT, 1 OG,
Okay,
etc.,
so
etc. So
in
you
the
can
end,
always
for the messages, you are
check
right
them.
because
Okay.
it
And
was a bit much
then, of
to
course, in
see
the
for
list of
the
the LCs, I can see how many approvals
So
is
yeah,
doing each
you
LC
are right.
or entity per each product, but
But
also you can just check if you want to
like
see
the
not
beginning that
only
I
overall of the
searched in the
entity, because you can
start,
also see all the entities of
it
our ISEC in Italy. You can also check only for your entity. So you put the name of your LC, and then you will be able to see this table, of course, reduced with just the name of your LC and all the results that it's having in terms of approvals, but also it goes back, let's say, backwards in the customer flow. So then you can start from all the number of acceptance that you're having per each product, and then as moving on, approve, realize, finish, complete, for example. There are sometimes might be some bugs or errors, let's say, in managing this feature, but it's because right now the platform is in transition. But still, this is how you use it. It's very, very simple with filters, once again, as I was saying to you. So as you can see, basically all Expa features are managed by filters. So the main important thing is to understand which are the features that you can use, as I've been showing to you. And this is how you can check the overall performance, so you understand. And here you can see that these percentages of green or red, they are meaning the growth or the drop of the performance of the product in that measure. So for example, if I see that we are growing in a number of accepted, I will see this percentage in green. But if I'm seeing that we are dropping in, let's say, accepted in a specific product, I will see this percentage in red, negative. So you understand also how much you are growing or dropping. Something also that you can use in this feature of analytics, for example, is graphical analytics that I'm showing to you now, that basically gives you data visualization of the performance of an entity in a specific product, once again a specific period of time. And it literally gives you like the linear graphic, let's say, visualizing the performance of of the entity. So let's say I'm gonna reload this one to show you how you can use this feature. So let's say this graphical analytics, you can start filtering, as I was saying to you. So you can choose, for example, the product, if it's GV, GT, GE. You can choose the type. So if it's outgoing or incoming, so IGX, ICX or OGXI, you can put the entity, of course, so you can filter by ISEC in Italy or your specific LC. Then you can put the period of time, if it's this month, this week, yesterday, 3 months, this quarter, this year, so the overall year, or you can custom range, and you can put, if you click custom range, as you can see, you can put a specific set of range of dates. And this is how you are going to, this is what you are going to see, for example, and check. This is like, as I was telling to you, I filter. So this is ISEC in Italy overall as a national entity performance in December from the 1st to the 6th, in outgoing GV, so it means OGV. And here you can see the number of applications, approvals, realization, finish, and complete that we have. And here you can see, as I was saying to you, the graphic visualization of the data. So also you see that, for example, approvals is the red line, as you can see here in the number. Also next to the name, you have the color. So approvals is the red line, and then realization, for example, is the, yeah, green line. And here it's being divided by each day. So here in the filter interval, you can put how many intervals do you want the graphic to be split according to, of course, the period of time that you are managing. Since we are in the first 6 days of the month, I put day. So this is why it's appearing here: 1st of December, 2nd of December, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. And the interesting, for example, of this feature is that you can get this visualization of data, as I was saying to you, that you can use for reports, for, I don't know, an area meeting, a team meeting, to show overall performance and to also exercise that analysis with your teams. But also, for example, since I put as an interval daily, is showing me the daily intensity of the measures of OGB, for example, of ISEC in Italy. So when you are seeing the peaks and the lows, it's correlated to the days where we were doing most approvals, less approvals, more, we were getting more realizations or less realizations, more completed, etc., etc. And of course, every time that you click in a name, you can add the line that you want to see. Now I also added applications, so I'm seeing daily, which is the overall performance. So for example, here we can see that in the 4th of December, we had a peak of applications, 9 applications in just that day. So it's like a peak, visually speaking. And every time that you click, for example, if I also want to add complete, it's also going to add each part of the measure that you want to see. For example, I also click here in finish. Also, it's showing me now which were the peak of finish that we get most on one day. That so far has been the 3rd of December, for example. So this is the way that you can also read these graphics and how much interesting they can be for also to you as VP, understand from your management side of your team, your area, your product, your role itself, how much good and how much also current state or improvements you have to work in your products. So this, for example, is how you can use the graphical analytics feature. Then you have entity to entity. Then here again, this entity to entity, it's a really, really good feature that can help you to be on track with all of your IR. So meaning all your LC to LC operations with all of the entity partners that we are managing as an ISEC in Italy, and you can understand how much are you performing with them for each stage of the customer flow. So how many accepted, how many approvals, how many realizations, how many completed, etc., you are having with each one of them. So for example, I already filtered here an example. As I was saying to you once again, every feature on Expa is filter driven. It's very, very customer friendly, easy for us, sorry, user friendly. So for example, I want to check here entity to entity of ISEC in Bologna with ISEC in Brazil. So for example, here I'm filtering. So how can you do it? First, you choose the status. So I put approve. So I want to check all the approvals. You can check if you want to check accept, realize, finish, complete. So for example, I put approvals. Then you choose the product, in this case GV. Then to understand if it's outgoing or incoming. So of course, every time that is home entity, it means the ongoing site. So in home entity, I put ISEC in Bologna, and host entity is meaning the ICX site. So entities that are hosting the projects or the opportunity. Either it's a GV, a G, or a GT. So in host entity, I put Brazil in this case. And in period of time, I put basically all of this the last 3 months. So from the 1st of September to the today, and then it's going to appear this table in which you are going to see uh, with all of the IGV entities of ISEC in Brazil that are running the product in that entity, you are going to be able to see with which ones are we approving and how much approval. So for example, ISEC in Bologna has one approval with ISEC in Isper, and then if you go on, you can also see which entities that, of course, doesn't have a strong LC2LC or are not being worked with because they have zero approvals. But if you can also find, for example, ISEC in Natal that has 7 approvals so far. So it's, for example, an LC2LC, of course, that it's been working. So you can check the results per each measure, as I was telling to you. Then, of course, if you don't want to, in this case, I put ISEC in Brazil just to show the example, but of course, you don't need to go to this here through this huge table with all the LCs that the entity has. But if you already, of course, know your direct LC to LC corporations, you just click here in host entity and you can put the name of an LC, for example, Ezequiel Natal, and then automatically just going to show you how many approvals do you have with that LC from that entity. So it's also helping you to be on track for your IR results. So you can also keep your partners updated in how much the progress of the work together is been going on, and also which are the point of improvements that you can have together to improve the process of the APs together that you are having, and also to overall results of the partnership, so you can keep engaging. Sorry, also both teams, your teams with your LC2LC team, so they are also keeping in touch and updated about what is happening with a specific partnership. So, for example, this is also another cool feature that you can use entity to entity. There are also 3 more features that you can see here. You also have standards, but since the platform is being transitioned right now, they are not so much accurate. So they are not still 100% fully working activated. So later on, of course, we will show you also how to use them. So basically, these are like the main features that you can use on Expa in general. Then also you have this feature that is called committees, where you can also find information about all the committees that we have, like in the overall ISEC network. So yeah, in general, this is how you can use Expa as an internal platform to approve, to manage EPs customers to get approved from both GXI and CXI, but also how to use other extra features for data analysis, performance, IR tracking, so you can use them in all times. There is just one last, let's say, feature that is still activated in Expa version 2. That is here, this one that you can see that is called Application Analytics. If you click, it's going to get you back to the old version of Expa. In this case, I will show you in the other browser because it changed. So here, for example, ISEC Expa, sorry, version 2. And the only thing that is still working there is this application analytics. That is basically how can you check the overall performance of your LC in a product or an entity. So here, for example, I have ISEC in Italy, I have opportunities, product GV, it means IGV, and I'm checking performance from the 1st to the 6th of December. If I click in apply, I will be able to see the overall performance. So here, for example, number of applicants, accepted, approved, realized, finished, complete. But this is the only thing that you can still check on Expa 2, and it's going to be fully transitioned and moved to Expa version 3 very, very soon. So just for you to have it as an information point update, by the end of this year, we are completely shifting towards the use of completely this version of Expa. It's the one that I was showing to you so far, mainly in the video. So this is how you can use our amazing internal platform. Now, just a little bit of extra information about, for example, Podio. For example, coming back to Podio, as I was showing to you before, as I was showing to you before, basically Podio is a platform that can be used in different many ways. It can be used to storage information. It can be used to CRM management. For example, right now as an entity, we are only using Podio for CRM from our IGV side, so the mainly the network of IGV to also be tracking the selection process of the EPs, because from OGXI we are completely switched to CRM and EP management on Expa with all the features that I showed you before about contacting the status notes and checking applications for our EP's customers. So coming back to Podio, for example, this is a platform that can be used for storage or like to CRM. As I was showing to you before, for example, this you these are applications that you can create in a working space. So how Podio works, basically that is divided in working space. Here I have different working space. I have from my past ISEC experience, but for example, I also have a working space of ISEC in Italy. Of course, many how do you get access to this is many of you, if you were already members of the organization, you could have access, or if not, you can also ask to a current VP or member that already has access to add you to the working space, because it's very easy. It doesn't have any kind of extra requirement besides having an ISEC email in this case. And for example, I'm gonna use IGB as an example, because as I was saying to you, is the main network that is using Podio right now with these different features. So I choose the ISEC in Italy IGB space. So here are like basically all the members, VPs, team leaders of the network. And here you can check in this part all the applications, let's say features that this working space has. So if I want to check, for example, EP selection, that was the one that I was showing you before, and how to how to approve applicants. Here you can like click in this application, you're going to have all of the data, for example. And one similar thing, let's say between Podio and Expa, that also Podio is a lot about filters driven, so it's very easy to get the information that you are using there or storaging. So for example, if I want to check, I want to see, for example, all the let's say applicants that I've been getting in December, I can just click here in filters, and you will be able to filter based on the date that the application was received. For example, if we check December, and then it's going to appear filtering all the applications so far that are in Podio, in this case in December, and you can get all the information based on how the app is being let's say built. Yes, my some parts of my Podio are in Spanish because it changed sometimes from browser to browser, but it's basically the same. And for example, I would also show for all IGB people here, like that in the future they're going to see the webinar. You have also different kind of applications that are connected with the processes of the area. So for example, for sales, you also have an application that is called IGB Openings Tracker, where you can also filter by date of time, by entity, meaning LC, by product. So based on the portfolio that we're using from our IGV, in this case, Edu Change, Help to Help, Summer, Integrate, etc. You can filter also for date of realization. So when are the projects going to be realized, having the realization date. So basically, it's like Expa. You basically work with filters, and you can check also, for example, which is the amount, for example, of opportunities opens that you are having so far. So for example, I'm using here the filter to check December, and we have so far 5 opens realized, opens in the platform, already open cell, let's say. Um, so this is just like a very brief introduction. How can you use Podio, for example, for different kind of data management mostly? And as I was saying to you, I'm using the example of IGV because it's the network that is being using it the most. A lot for the other process that we are running in the area that is basically sales, where you can also track how many openings are you having, how many spots of per opportunity you're having, but also the general follow-up of the neighbors. You can also have an app for neighbors. Okay, it depends a lot of let's say the purpose that each application has in the space. And of course, every time that we are working with the platform, we are pushing a new specific strategy process or data storage or information management, we are also of course downscaling through the guidelines on how to use it, and which is the purpose of using this platform as a secondary, let's say, platform for internal management of our processes. So coming back to Expa, once again, this is like all the features that I showed you before that you can use, and they are going to be really, really useful during your BP term. Of course, for any kind of specific detail about how to manage something, if you are from OGV or GT area or IGV, you can always approach your MCP from operations team, or you can also approach me either by WhatsApp, email, workplace chat, etc., etc. And just also to keep you in mind, if sometimes you happen to be using Expa and you find a message of an error or oops or reload the page, is just sometimes, as I was saying to you, since we are in the transition of the two versions of the platforms, sometimes it has these little bugs or errors to be fixed, but you just need to follow the instructions or reload the page, and it's going to work amazingly for you. So this is it basically about Expa basics and also Podio basics. It's very, very generally very focused on how to use the platforms I was showing to you, on how to manage our customers and how to move them towards all of customer flow processes. So they are going to be, of course, used and translating in your everyday week work also in your in your upcoming experience. So this is it, people. Thank you so much. If you have any kind of doubt, you can always approach us. So I will stop sharing now the screen. So I will just stop the screen. And of course, as I was saying to you, you can approach us. This webinar also being recorded on YouTube. So the link that we posted also in the group of workplace, and you can also have it to be checked by you or also in the future by your members. In any case, later on, and of course, we will be also downscaling a more specific contact with the new features of Expa later on. And also, we have other channels as academies where we are also downscaling any kind of update on how to use Expa for internal management. So this is it. Thank you so much. And once again, I will truly encourage you to take a look to the platform and start getting familiar with it if you have never using it a lot before the start of this new experience. And if you have any kind of doubts, don't be afraid to ask, because sometimes it's normal at the beginning. Try to understand a little bit how the whole interface and the platform works, okay? So this is it. Have a good night and take care.